Aastha Poddar,
Hey.
who will take us on a journey today, but she's not the only special guest of today, because Plön is also here. She's another member of the Future Materials team, and I already spoke about her during the introduction week, but I'm very happy that today, also about the other ones, but I'm very happy that today she can also join, and she comes here every 2 months, so that's a nice occasion. And we're also here, not in the auditorium, in the printing and publishing lab, which is also great. So thank you for the hospitality to PJ, which I don't know where he is. And so yes, so I will leave the word to Plön for this one. So go ahead, Plön.
That's great. Yeah, as Julia already said, I am Plön. I'm the curator of the Future Materials Bank since I think 3 years already. It's crazy how quick it goes. Because I'm based in Copenhagen, I'm not here on a daily basis, but I'm here every second month. So feel free to pass by the office when I'm here, and also if you have any questions about materials that Julia cannot help you with, I'm also there to support, so feel free to send an email. And today we have a really special guest, Aastha. She's born and raised in India, did her bachelor in textile and fashion design, and then went to do the same MA as I did, which is called Material Futures at St Martin's in London. And the project she's gonna talk about, and more important, explore with us in a physical way, is about the really common Indian block printing technique. And it's a technique that used to be used with natural dyes, but over the last years it became more and more common to use artificial dyes. And Aastha wanted to change this by exploring the possibility to print with Spirulina. I don't know everything about it, so for sure I'm gonna hand it over to you and tell us everything
Thank you
about
so
it.
much. Yeah, me and Plön, we were together in the Future Materials course, and she put me on the bank, and since then life has been better. Thank you for that. Thanks to Julia and Rhett, he's been very helpful. They've all been great. It's great to be here. It's lovely to meet you all. We're all going to together make something special enough, on that piece of textile. And so basically, a little bit about the project that I did. I'm from Jaipur, where block printing is supposed to be. It's a very traditional, and it's been going on for centuries. And at this point, it's like an industrialized craft industry, which it makes textile for all over the world. It's exported to UK, US, everywhere in the world. So it's quite a huge part of the city, a huge industry. And at the moment, to produce fast, quick, they're using a lot of chemical dyes. So and in the lakes of Jaipur and in the general water, the climate conditions, spirulina is naturally found there. There are a lot of factories around the corner that are producing the spirulina powder that people eat. So a lot of it is done around Jaipur. So it's commonly it's its own environment. So the idea is to use spirulina within the industry, and what it would do is you can feed it wastewater. So that way the wastewater would be going to the right source, and it would eat it up like food. It would remediate the water. Then after you use the process, the material that we are going to print on is hemp. So the idea is to be able to feed whatever excess leftover we have. We are going to put it in the pits, I think in the garden, for composting. So it's important to be able to capture that. So ideally the idea is that you put it in the ground and then you grow hemp on it, which can be grown anywhere. And Jaipur doesn't have ideal climate conditions it's not it's a very hot climate. It's near the desert area, so it's not very, it doesn't flourish cotton or rice, water-hungry crops can't grow there. So hemp would be growing there, and then you would be able to use, so it would become a circular system, and it would trap carbon. It would remediate the air, because when spirulina breathes, it takes in carbon dioxide, gives out oxygen, and it would remediate the water, because you can feed wastewater to it, and wherever it grows, it purifies that water. And it would purify the land, because when you grow hemp on it, hemp is like the algae of the land. It would also purify. So the idea is, because this industry is so established, it would be able to clean the city. So I think that's about it, about the project. And feel free to have a look. This is an old printed textile. This is the one that I printed during my project. And there are also some samples, which later on we will see under the microscope as well, how it looks different from when we see commercially dyed fabric. And yeah. Sorry? So this is fixed, but the textile that we are printing on would not be fixed.
And how do you fix it?
So I use a mordant, but I don't want to use the mordant material. So I put it overnight in, and I also don't, it's a cold dyeing process, everything that we will do. So because I don't like to use high temperatures, that's what, with natural dyeing, normally they use high temperatures to achieve, but the process, the idea was to use as less carbon as possible and to do it with only cold printing. So I put it in aluminium, a very heavy, old aluminium container overnight at like just warm water. And that helps more than it. I didn't expect it to work, but it did. So I'm worried trying it again, what if it doesn't work again, but yeah. But alum, like you could use alum to fix it. Okay. All right, shall we get started? So what we want to do is we want to make this all together. There's some potatoes here. There's knife, you can chop the potato. There are carving tools here. You can carve something. So I wanted for all of us to be like, maybe we can carve something that, please do have a look at the blocks as well. Those are, some of them are traditional blocks. So these, most of them are traditional blocks, and this is a block that I had carved. So this is a 6-way block. That means that all the sides are same, and then you can just match every end, and it will always form a unique pattern. So even with the potatoes, it's like, it's up to you what kind of a pattern we want to explore. But ideally, I would say that maybe we can have a subject in mind, maybe we want to talk about some things. We just want to have conversation while we all work, like normally they do in any printing or any labs, any workshops. So maybe we get started on a conversation like, what do you all think about craft? Maybe we start with subject of craft, like any opinions?
And industry.
Anything that you would like.
No, because if you want to look at the carbon situation,
yes,
it's applicable to industry, right?
Correct.
So how can you relate craft to industry? How can you bring them closer together? Because then something will happen, no?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I've just been fortunate enough to grow up in a background where craft was industry. So I think maybe it would be interesting to see what your perspective is, because normally when other people think about craft, maybe they think differently.
Very romantic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you look at the blocks that they make.
Are they handmade?
Yeah, everything is handmade.
Wow, fantastic.
It's all handmade.
Because also they make them in industry, yeah?
Yes. They make them in industry, but that's the thing. They all sit every day in the morning in the same spot, and they just do it.
But they do it also without signing a pattern, huh?
So
They
no,
just
yes.
have their, I saw it, they just have their pattern in mind.
Yeah, but these days, a lot of the times, even when they have the pattern, they put the pattern and then they make holes. Like imagine a butter paper, and you have a pattern on the butter paper, then you make small holes, then they have this material, like it's just like this white stuff, and they just put it on top, and then it goes through the holes, so they know where to print the pattern.
I mean, yesterday when we were in the lab and when you showed the blocks to us, you also mentioned a bit more about the properties of the woods. Is that something you can tell us about?
So they use hardwood, which is, you would think that, oh, but why would they use hardwood? That's more difficult to carve. But that also keeps the patterns sharper. They are more long, they're more durable. Normally, if you would go to an industrial block printing space, you would see like racks and racks, rooms of blocks. Like they might even not know the patterns that they have made over the years. So it's like, because they have such long lasting, like these blocks, they must be like at least 50, 60 years old. Easy. So these are all made with shisham. Shisham is a hardwood that is very, that there, even the furniture industry and all, they use shisham in the handicraft industry. So it's very easy to just push it down the chain around. And this is the wood I got in the UK. Not as ideal.
British wood.
I have no idea, honestly, what it is.
Light.
I tried to find out, but
Super light.
Only done this.
yeah. And you see the difference between that one?
Yeah.
That's like way heavier.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are the holes in it?
So the holes are so that the material that you put on it can pass through.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will sustain, and then it won't, like, the pattern will be damaged.
Okay.
So that's why on these holes, in this
Yeah.
one as well, you can see
Yeah,
there are
so,
holes.
yeah, yeah.
They have very interesting drills, actually. So they have like this nail and this nail thing, and on the side they have a wood, and they have a thread attached to it, like not a thread, like a rope, and then they loop the needle in the rope, and then they go that way. So
Right.
it's not electric drills.
No, it's like the old drill.
Yeah,
let's
it's
say.
like the old. It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything, every tool that you can imagine, just imagine if there was no electricity. How would you make it work? That's how I did the entire project. I thought like, okay, electricity doesn't exist.
And how did you treat the woods? Because does it
So
absorb
you,
the
yeah.
ink?
You, after you have carved your pattern, you need to soak it in oil, and you can use like waste oil, old oil, just for 2 days, something like that. So then the wood, all the pores in the wood that are left to absorb, like it also needs to be dry wood. Can't be like, okay, you just, the fresh wood. You won't be able to carve anything from fresh wood. It needs to be dry wood. So you would use dry wood, and then when you soak it, all the leftover pores that's left, the oil will go in, so that there is no moisture left in that. Otherwise, it will not have a longevity. It will not have life.
Yeah, cool.
I think we should get started with the patterns. I was thinking like maybe we all can come up with some words. Maybe we use the paper. We use one paper maybe, and then we can all come up with some words that we think about craft, about design, about industry, and about authenticity. Whatever, as creative practitioners, we have an impression towards the current world and the industry that we are going to be in. So we can just write down some words so we have some inspiration to carve our potatoes. Does that sound like a good idea?
Could be images too.
Images, whatever. Anything is welcome. There's paper here. Just,
So we can start carving.
yes, here. There are some potatoes. You might need to like cut it from the center. So I would have to say potatoes are not ideal because they are wet, they are soft, they are opposite of everything we talk about, but they're what is available and easy to carve for us now. And also when I did my project, there was COVID. So there was no way of me getting any wood. So that's how I did start. I practiced and tried carving on potatoes.
But you do 2/3? Because you just took out 1/3, or is it also okay to do it through half?
I mean, it's okay, but you will need some
You need some space for your hands.
space, yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it's really up to you. There are no rules in
Okay.
carving potatoes. There's also something very interesting, and I think something that we should understand. When we print spirulina, it's not ink. It's not. It's the material itself. Because they are micro-algae, when you see it, I think like once we do a little bit of printing, we'll talk about it again. But you will see that there is coloration it has a life of its own, like any tree. You know, they grow, they have leaves, then they don't. So it's going to have its own life. It'll be darker. When you print, you will see the color will be very different from this. Then this is one piece that I printed in the middle, and then these are the samples I made. If you see these.
But is it dead now?
So that's the thing, because it's a living thing. I think I will not say it's alive here as well, but it's a living thing. Does that make sense?
It will change.
Like it's not alive. It's only alive when it's underwater. That's when it's alive, but it's a living thing.
But if I put this in the water, then it starts to live again?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so?
It's like you would say that fish live underwater, but if you take them out and you put them back, they might not live.
Well, I mean, there's different takes on life, because from a biological standpoint, everything that is alive makes waste.
Correct.
Okay, but in this context, it's different.
Yes.
You're talking about life in a different sense.
Yes.
So.
I'm just trying to say, like, there is living things and there is non-living things.
Right.
The difference between living things and non-living things is that I would say table, it's a non-living thing, sure, but the wood
It's alive.
it's
Okay,
a
now I got
living
it.
thing.
Right, got it.
So it is
Right, because
like
it moves with the humidity.
yes,
it
but if
moves
you
with-
talk about plastic,
Right.
it does not change.
Yeah.
But when you talk about wood, like if you see the back of the wood blocks, they have a life.
Okay. In that sense.
They will change.
But spirulina is an organism.
Yes, microorganism, absolutely.
Exactly. Okay.
But still, again, because I remember when I was growing spirulina, it was quite a task to keep them alive. So I don't think they're alive here. I think this represents, I mean, I don't want to put any words in it, or I don't want to impose my impressions, but I would assume that this is decaying.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when you will print, you will see how dark green it is
Right.
when you print it. Here as well. So it's open to, it's very light sensitive, because
Yeah.
it's chlorophyll we're talking about. That we know.
Okay.
But you see how it is, and that is spirulina as well. So it's a blue and green algae. Even here you see it has a bluish tone to it. So it's a living thing. What's important to understand, it's not ink. It's not going to be green or blue as per your wish. Sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, I mean, does that mean that you can help me? Spirulina. That you cannot use it for fabrics which you want to use later?
But I think you can. I think it's just like it is in nature. When we grow a tree, we are not like, oh, you have to stay like this all your life, or all our life. I think it is that understanding that we can be open to, that it will change. I mean, I think the idea of something being it's fixed. That means when you put it in water, it will not go away. For me, that's what fixed means. And for the color that it will have, I think
will change.
it has that much. I would like to respect the material enough to be like, okay, you can be whatever you want for the color. And it's more interesting, no? One day you walk into your door, oh my God, why is it yellow?
That's an amazing feature.
Yeah.
But how does it look like under the microscope?
Yeah, you want to see?
Yeah, I tried, but I didn't
Yeah,
see much.
it's getting a bit tricky actually. So this is the spirulina that
It's dried.
that I had dried. You will
It
see.
looks like turquoise.
Yes.
How do you say that in English? Turquoise?
Turquoise. That's
But turquoise is a rock,
Yeah.
really?
isn't it? The turquoise is a mineral, and this is like an organism, right? That's a difference.
Yes.
Wow, this color is amazing.
Yeah. So you see all the variation on color that it has.
But wait a minute, if you put this in water, it creates oxygen. That's what it does, right?
No.
No?
This is after harvesting.
After harvest.
You need the culture.
You need the thing itself in order to
Yes.
create
Now
oxygen.
when you put it in water, it will separate. It will not dissolve in the water.
Okay.
But yeah, now you're getting what I mean to say. That this
But these
is
are like the skeletons of
it's
spirulina.
it's
No,
it's it's their bodies.
their bodies, exactly. That's what it is.
It's their bodies, yeah. I think we're getting amazing words though. Maybe we should
Block them down.
block them down. I like that. We should block them down.
Can I just ask a question
Yes,
about the
please.
process from the microorganism to the powder? Is
Yes.
that just a process of drying?
So you would harvest them and get this. So honestly, the powder is just like it's easy for me to access because there are people already doing this process. But how I did it was I also used the stuff that I got, even the liquid. I used it, like the liquidy and the little bit of dry. When I was drying it, I just like when it was dry, I just pounded it and tried to mix it into the thickener. But the process of it making into powder, I'm really not sure. It needs some industrial things. So in the process, that's not what I recommend. But this is what is easy for us to do because I don't have spirulina growing with me now. Does that make sense? The powder is what comes in packets in the market.
And then how do you harvest it?
So there is like this microfilter that will be able to harvest depending on the size of the spirulina. So even that is very interesting. Like there are different types of sizes of the spirulina itself. It will be fat. It can be very thin. Like it depends. It has omega-3 oils and all that. So it's like you can use those. I mean, so there are a lot of filters that industry people use who are able to filter it in different proportions. But for us, it doesn't really matter because we are looking for us, even if it's fat, it's still micro. So I think maybe if you see what the textile looks under the microscope, you'll understand a bit.
And then is it used as an ingredient in Jaipur as well?
Sorry.
Food or not at all?
No, it's like see, I'll tell you how the rest of the world works. It's like there is something that the Western world thinks is superfood and that's it. Everyone wants it. So it's basically that. There is it's a fad, but I'm sure they use it for a few things. But India exports everything. I think, I'm not sure, but I'm sure.
In India, they don't see it as a superfood. That's what you're saying.
They do. Now it's
Because
one
the
world.
West saw it as a
It's
superfood.
one world
Yeah,
now.
okay.
I think except for the little pockets of authenticity that remain within people who don't have access to much. Those are the places where you can say it's something different. But in my opinion, I think it's all one world. Okay, I'm just going to try to. Also, like there's just one rule: it needs to be flat on the top surface.
Okay.
That's the only thing, so that when we print, it's flat. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes, just once when it is a little bit visible. Okay. Does somebody want to have a look? What? So
Yes.
it's going to be different at every stage. I'm just going to leave it here.
Okay.
So these are the adjusting knobs. Then we will see what any other fabric looks like so that we can compare how it's different. It's called a superfood. It's because it's pure, what do you say, energy. Like, I think that's why it's, as far as like, I didn't go very in depth in that research, but as far as I could understand, it meant because it's got omega-3, it's something that, you know, it's very good oils, and then it has, it's also pure chlorophyll, like there is no mass to it. It's like pure energy. It's different from cultivated food that we have. It's what the fish eat. People have been eating spirulina for a very long time. I think it's just been more accessible for everyone, like now, because we understand how we can test everything. Like, we know that it's rich in omega-3 and all. But I think people have been eating it, people who live near. It's like any algae, like you would say, oh my God, nori, there's so many kinds of algae.
What are you carving?
So people have been eating it for a while.
So what are we seeing in the microscope?
So we are seeing, basically when you will see any other textile, you will see that if you see a gray or a blue, it's blue. The thread even is blue. Or the thread. So it's completely infiltrating the material. But when you will see spirulina printed in this way, you will see that it's just on top of it. You can see the fiber, and then you can see it's covered with the green. So I think that's why it's loose bound, if that makes sense.
Right.
That's why it fades, it evolves, and it changes itself.
Right.
It doesn't change the fiber of the cloth.
Does it get decolored because of the light, or does it get detached?
Light.
It's light.
Yeah.
So it's really sticking to the fiber anyway. So
Yes.
It's not intruding the fiber, but just laying on top of it. But it's very sturdy.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's micro. So if you give it a lot of light, it will vanish. It will still be there, but it's micro, so you won't be able to see it. It will just become.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It will vanish.
Right. Okay.
So maybe it's worth knowing. I'm just making the material.
Okay.
That's why I don't like to call it a dye. I think it would be interesting if we think of printing and dyeing in that way, where we let the fabric be itself, and then we let the material or the print be itself as well. But it will last for very long, long enough.
2 years old.
This is 2 years old, like not 2, 1 year, 1.5. Yeah, 2. Shit.
Almost 2, yeah.
Oh my God.
But did the colors change a lot?
A lot, yes. So when you will print, you will see that the color is so dark and it's so green. But whereas that color, it's like bluish green. So I'm using Manutex. It's also an algae-based thickener.
It's like agar-agar or something.
No, it's no, it's a little bit different. It's not like agar-agar. It's just a thickener. So the job of a thickener is, the moment you put it in water, the thickener is going to go away.
Okay.
Or when you will steam it or dry it, the thickener doesn't stay, the material stays. The thickener is just a mold, like a vessel, to get the material onto the fabric in the way we desire. So in India, they use very interesting thickeners. So I would imagine that when I'm doing this in India, I would let their thickeners be whatever they use, rather than, What we need to understand is it is a micro-algae. So it will appear dissolved, but what it will be is it will be scarce within the thickener. It's like a car, and the spirulina is the people in the car.
Makes sense.
So it's like when we go out, we're just like, and then we don't care about the car. We just care about where we are.
And this Manutex, when it's exposed to the sun or the light, it
No, it's not made from the chloroform base of the algae. it's made from a different part. It's made like it's in the wall or something like that.
But another thickener, could it be like potato starch? Is potato starch a thickener?
Yes, but it is. In India also we use like it's called cut-off.
Okay.
We use the thickener to stiffen the fabrics sometimes. So
Like basically use like a cellulose or something like that.
yeah, I
Material.
think I would imagine. Like I think I would have to know a lot more about thickeners
Yeah.
to have suggestions or opinion on that. But I think in my experience, I think any thickener should be okay unless it is going to have its own impression. So for that, we need access to the right consistency.
And if you wanted to make like a paint,
Paint.
yes, can you use spirulina like you would use a pigment?
I think so.
So then you
But
could just add like gum arabic or another binder.
yeah, but you have to. It won't melt. It won't dissolve in the water.
No, but a pigment is never.
Exactly. It's the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yes.
I would
okay.
imagine you can just print.
Texture will be different and the movement.
Definitely different, because the process of when you are aggressively putting something, like with the wood block, when you aggressively, you're just like stamping it, and then you're hitting it hard with pressure, so it has a certain texture. Whereas if you free flow, like so over here as well, some of the bits, sorry, evidently you can see that this I did with.
Hit hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also little bit I used the ink, like I used it with my hand in places.
But for example, here in the lab, they could use it for screen printing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use it for any kind of printing.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it would go.
I'm wondering if it isn't different using it with a potato instead of using it with a wooden.
So I used it with potato. I think it has its own. The starch element will be there.
Yeah,
It will just be a little bit more, more thick. Like you see this,
Found it?
it will not be like this.
Yeah, exactly.
It will be like
Interesting.
it'll be different.
Like a stamp.
Yeah, like a stamp. So with Manutex, like I just know that it's definitely algae based, and I mean this particular brand. Don't worry about it. This.
Not really to help.
No. Okay. So yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, you really don't. But it's like, how far are we ourselves willing to go to make sure? So.
Very far.
Yes, that's the thing. That's why when I was doing my project also, it's like I did not intend to do this, but because I understood how block printing works, because I worked with it, and I understood the things that work or that don't work for me in terms of its environment, sustainability, everything included. So it's like, I think that's what authenticity means, because it's like, that's the only things you're willing to trust in terms of process. Screen printing didn't work for me because of all the process involved in screen printing it does use chemical and everything, the temperatures but yeah. But it's always nice to question everything. And I will not say something that I did not make, that it is what it is. Yeah, it's better than most things that we use, for sure.
It's not a binder though.
But I think, to be honest, like maybe we can try, since everyone thinks, maybe we can just try putting the potato in the powder. I mean, I don't want to say powder. Yes, and then printing it direct. I mean, why not? Yes, that can be something we can try. Because I think the potato, yeah, it has moisture within itself, and it is starch.
We can see here.
You do this by intuition or like you have proportions that you...
I have proportions, but I'm not too stringy on the proportions. They're always a little bit different.
Can I change lens?
Yeah, of course. Okay, maybe I'm just going to go there. Traditionally, I would not recommend we use electricity, but it's like you have to rigorously mix it with hand. It takes a lot of time, but for now. Yeah.
It's like a very healthy.
Yeah, see, that's why I could never try to eat it. It just.
But it probably is edible, right?
Yes, but again, it's not something that I'm allowed to say. No, I mean the spirulina powder is definitely edible, but like you said, the Manutex, it came out of another place, so I don't think they recommend eating it anyway. But yeah, maybe with the potato, we can. Oh, it's disgusting.
The potato directly.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's not so bad. I expected it.
Really?
Good for you.
For, yes, it does. Okay, so this is just for the top. You see the tray. This is the traditional tray that they use to block print. It's this wooden deep container. Yeah. So it is this deep container, and on top of that, there is this spring sheet. So whenever you put a block, you will see that. So it helps the spring. It helps you to get an even display. Plus, you need that push to be able to get the color or the ink or the dye or the material evenly spread out on it. So this is what you would need to block print properly, something like this. So they make all this with whatever they have available around, and then you just put that there. And then this is like, it's a jute thing. You can put anything. I don't know how much this will work. We might use a muslin from the workshop, and then we're just going to cover it. Like maybe we need to make more material, and then we are ready to print. If you all want to try, there's some powder over there. Maybe we can get another container, and we can try printing with some potato and directly on the powder, because potato also has starch, and maybe the liquidity of the potato would be enough for us to get some.
As a quick question, if you are gonna print like a big piece of fabric, would it still be this size and you just move the fabric?
It is always the same.
Really? So it's not that they have different sizes?
No.
You just move it constantly?
Yes, even the print, because block, like what they would see. So the block is printed against the grain. So you have to understand that how big can a log be? Like how big can that be? It can be like this big, a trunk. How round can it be? So it can be this big. So how big a block you can get out of that? Not a very big block. And it would be difficult. The bigger the block, the more difficult to access. What if you have such a big block? Carrying it, it's very heavy. Then when you move the block, you have to be careful of how you're going to print it, the corners. So all that. That's why the accessibility is like, you would imagine this is like a big block. Like about this. So it's always this. This tray might be bigger for sure. They have like bigger, but it's not abnormally bigger. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Not all of it. You won't need that much. Just like one layer. Just one layer. Very little is enough. because I will.
Maybe, for example, in the paper making, you have spirulina with kind of pulpa with just put it in a mix. Yeah, but then for paper you need a lot of liquids, so I don't know. Like you make the pulp, probably the spirulina. You should try that. Maybe this kind of paper with the leftovers of that. You can try to do something.
I'm gonna need a lot more.
More material.
Yes. Because it should be wet enough so that this doesn't come off like this. But okay. I just trying that if it works. But yeah. So when it's a little bit, the first few blocks will always be not great. That's why we.
Oh, this is not great.
I mean, we need to. I'll make a little bit more material, but that's the clarity that we can expect. And you see the color difference as well. It's so different from that. Well, I think for the potatoes, we can try a little bit.
Okay.
That's why I just wanted to get you started.
Yes, that's quite optimistic.
Maybe then it's actually water again. Different water and
No, I think it should do this maybe.
No. You have to stamp. Never, if you slide, then it will come off. Okay. Do try. And also when you put it, you need, like maybe you need some more material. Yeah. And then when you put it, you need to put a little bit of pressure.
So with the powder, it doesn't really work.
It doesn't really work. Yeah, because it's not wet enough.
The potato?
Yeah. Now we know. Because if you see, it needs this like kind of glossiness.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so this is happening because of the dry powder.
Yeah.
As soon as it's not, when it gets a little bit musted, it will be clear.
Okay.
So potato can have a very good result. And I'm making like a lot more material, so it's drenched. Then it will be better. But at least we can have some try our blocks. And there is also some blocks here. Feel absolutely free to try those blocks, any of them. Also, you can use the roller to roll if that's. Yeah. That was beautifully picked up. Like that's how you would imagine. When you put it flat, and then when you pick it up, you lift like that. Yes. Also, I would need all of us to together design how we would want to print that textile. I'm just giving you some basic ideas. So by using the newsprint paper, you'll be able to get corners. Basically, like say you have this big block and you want to print it like this. You want to only have a different edge to it. So what you can do is cut that in whatever way you like, positive and negative space. and you can use the newsprint sheet to provide direction. That way, maybe we can design what kind of impression we want to leave on this textile. After you hit it, like you hit it, and then you have to. Yeah, well, fair enough. No, you can even go with like both hands. Like you want to put even pressure throughout the block. And that's why you have those handles. So when you put pressure on the handle, it distributes it throughout the block.
So would you, like Aastha, with this one, did you dip it back in the spirulina after each coat?
Every
Or
coat, every
yeah,
coat.
okay, yeah.
Every time it needs to be dipped in.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why normally you would like have a little trolley. What they have, they move like this, and then they move like this. Like it's like a dance. So it's very performative, and like. Sorry. Copper? To print? No, not in this particular industry. No, but I'm sure. Because it's just, I think it's a lot about accessibility as well. Like,
Just know in Indonesia they have like these huge copper stamps always. And they
stamps. Oh yeah. So in India they do like big screen printing as well, but where I'm from Jaipur, they don't use copper in Jaipur. Maybe somebody does, but I haven't seen it. But I think once once you have the material, you can print it however you want. I mean, I did this with the tools that are there. The tools are shit. I mean, I think it's just your willingness that will count. Like, if you keep trying, you'll definitely get something out.
you always get more creative if you have less, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That's the beauty that COVID taught us. So normally it should have enough material that the wool thing stays. It will maybe now.
And what about on paper? Because now we're stamping on textiles.
Textile, yeah, please.
How is spirulina with?
I think so. I also experimented on paper before. Like I used quite a porous paper. It does come across like wonderfully. I think the material, like, it's like any other material. It's open to on any base. It's just what we want to access more and what we want to access less. So now it will probably stick to the sides.
It has a food smell. No? Like.
Like one more batch so that it's enough for us. So it's spirulina and the thickener. Okay. The thickener is Manutex that we are using, but I think we can use whatever thickener you're able to access. What we are using, Manutex, is basically an algae-based thickener. So this one is not going to be great. Because here on the corners you see we have too much material.
So you might use the roll to even it out.
No, so it might take a few prints while the pressure, and it sets the rest of the material in. So it's also about the sounds, like when you, the thud sound, then, and then in the end you will hear when you lift it off the fabric. I mean, that's how I learned how to block print, like thinking of it as a performative action. I think I like to learn crafts like that.
Shall I try and get the rest out of here?
Yeah, just want to get rid of this as well. I might make a little bit more of the material. There is a lot of different colors of algae. It's not only green or only blue. You have red, you have brown. So how I look at it as, like, if you're interested in this mode of, with this kind of a feel for printing, then you can like create your own bank of colors, how they will mix together. And right now I'm only talking about micro-algae. So there are quite a few colors. So you can have like your own version of CMYK, if that makes sense, within the algae, and it will open up a whole other color stream, like color story. So just to be mindful that we want, if you will put a block in the very wet spaces of the tray, then you won't get great prints. It won't be defined. Like for this one, I think it might be worth washing it once, so that we don't have. Now this is the only process, like before when I was doing it, what I did was I put a tray at the bottom when I'm washing it. Because the moment you put any material into the water, into the waterways, it doesn't help. It doesn't matter if it's organic, if it's compostable, because it will increase the level of carbon. It's pure carbon. Any material, whether it's natural or any natural material, organic, is carbon. That's what organic chemistry is like. It's carbon-based. So even if you're putting dead spirulina into water, it doesn't help unless you're putting that water into the live spirulina so that it. Does that make sense? So I think that's like these are some things that, if while printing as in industry, I mean, it might not matter so much when you're putting little amounts when you're printing privately, but when an industry does it, that's where the pollution is coming from.
And if they would gather the wastewater and...
Put it into the spirulina, beautiful.
No, but when the water evaporates, can you still use it again if it turns into a dry powder?
No,
So once
because there's going to be so much in it, in the water itself, in that as well. I mean, I haven't tried it, and I don't think you will get it like that, because it will be a lot of water.
Yes.
It will take a lot of time to dry.
Yes.
So it's just better to use it's energy. You're using the same energy and you're putting it into spirulina and converting it into oxygen.
Yeah.
You can think of it like that. So maybe that's like a better use of the wastewater.
Yeah.
I think the idea is to not think of it as where to put it, think of it as where it's most useful. and to put it there, like a rejuvenating perspective rather than a do not waste perspective. Oh, this looks so interesting.
This has become something new now.
Yeah. So every time you would print, I would recommend, so that table has wheels. Maybe if we all coordinate, yeah, we'll be able to, maybe we can get it here for now. Because every time you print, you want to dip it in.
Yeah.
That way only you'll be able to see what you're printing even. Yeah? Wherever, I think because this side is a bit done, so maybe somewhere here. I think we are getting very nice results out of potato, no?
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I like it.
It's better than I expected. I was a bit nervous about that. That's why I got all the blocks, okay.
We used to do that as kids.
Yes.
Carving potato stems.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, every time you would print, you would want to like get a dip. Okay, I'm going to try this, if it is better now. Sorry. I'm just trying to get the water out. So actually, it's harder when there is more surface area for it to have a prettier print, because then that means that like this is going to be very sticky. It's not going to be good, because it needs, we need to do, like I need to make this work a little bit more. I think we should also think about how we want to print that textile. I need to make a little bit more. You see how it's sticky? Because it needs a little bit more material.
It needs more material.
Yeah, because the tray, because also we will need like a lot more, because if you want to print that textile, so I might need to make like 2-3 more batches.
Right.
Because in the tray it needs to be like full up to that point.
Yeah. Okay.
And the fabric itself, is it pre-treated or?
So no, like I mean, it looks pre-treated, like it's probably bleached, but I got it from.
What, this one?
This is just waste fabric from here.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
So I did not treat it, but so that's why it's not going to be fixed.
Yes.
But you could treat it.
Yeah. So, like you would normally treat fabric before a dye bath.
Yes. I mean, like it's not a dye bath though, is it? Like it's just a
No,
print.
but you want to fixate the color, right?
Yes, correct. For that you would need like a mordant, so you can use any mordant. But for the sake of my process, I did not want to use any material, so I didn't.
How to like iron afterwards, like the heat?
Yeah, I mean, if you steam it, yes, it will help, of course. But just because I was promoting the process to be more like less temperatures, so it's not something I did. But yeah, it will only help the print to be better. I think it's just like a pro and con, what we would want for what cost. And for me, it was more about understanding because, you know, initially I thought, oh, if something is organic, you just put it into the environment and it's done. But it's not like that. You need to make sure where it's going. It needs to be tied into a loop. If you're going to say, okay, it's compostable and compost it, you need to trap the carbon by growing something on it or whatever. Oh, shit. No, I'm good. Okay. I'm pretty sure we're running out of time, aren't we?
Yeah, but I think this is already like interesting to just keep on experimenting here and
Yes.
just chatting while.
Yeah, of course, no
What's the
problem.
time? Yes, it's like 20 to 4. Yeah, it runs fast.
Wow. Okay. So maybe I'm gonna make like a big batch. So maybe we just make abstract patterns on the big, we should try printing on the big one.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, it's gonna look like this. Well, I don't have a plan any further. So I think we are being too cautious. Let's just go for it. Yes. But I think the only recommendation I have is whatever you're printing, wherever you're printing, try to go overall. That's the only
Overall,
thing. Yeah.
Like just be repetitive.
Like, yes, be repetitive. Like, mindful of the full space of the fabric rather than just like.
Potatoes are not that big.
No, that's true. It is going to be a challenge. Maybe 3 meters was too much. That's the thing I loved about craft and textile. There is this word in Hindi called jugaad, which basically means making things work with whatever we have.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of an approach. It's never too fine.
So if we would want to do this kind of printing, we would have to like build this kind of spring.
Yes, I think that is like bare minimum that you would need. No, it's just I want to turn it around. I mean, I could use it, but it's not porous enough, you can see. Like, it needs to be able to take material in. But it's not really doing that. I mean, we can make some prints with this as well, but this is like... This is why it's time taking and why it's like tricky. But I think this should be good now.
Did you do the final one in one go, or you had to redo it a few times?
No. You can't redo it. You can't put
No, but I
the
mean,
block.
yeah, to start like from scratch
No,
because
I
you
had-
made a mistake or.
No, I practiced a lot.
And then you knew, okay, this is.
Yes,
one
and then
go, this is gonna be the final.
like, and also like with this, the thing was that you have to accept whatever it is. Now, see, if you see my block, it's not great because of the material. The wood is different. When you see this block, it doesn't have any of the. It's too polished.
This one, you mean?
Like in this one, you see. It's getting better now, but it still has. So it needs a lot of printing practice before you can finally, before it's ready to take. Because that means that it needs one coat of material for it to have that. The smoother it is, the worse. That's why potato is working so nice. Because it has its own texture. It's not a smooth surface. Yeah, I think it's perfectly ready to go. Yeah, it's finally getting there.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, right? Oh, now I realize how tricky this one has been to make.
So my hands are very dirty, but for printing you need to have very clean hands. But yeah, that's basically how we made the patterns.
He said it's a natural algae base, but it would be good, you know, there are no ingredients. So we would need actually to make some more research before eating it. And that's actually she was. All right, Aastha, thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you so
Thank you.
much. I've had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed. This is amazing. You should.
We
Oh,
have a house, we have a bike.
I think this is in the end the final one.
Yes, so this is the final
But
one.
maybe we can leave that over there, and there's some material. It's gonna stay
Yeah.
if anybody wants to do anything with it.
And you also had like a new breakthrough.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
pretty
amazing.
cool.
Yes. Wow. Oh my God, red. This is amazing.
This is amazing. I love it. Even the.
Yes.
See, now this is a screen printing I can get behind.
It's a bit like as a kid we used to have like these
Sorry.
blocks with the carbon paper.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
Just
exactly
scratch
like
and
that.
get the
I think he got the hang of block printing, basically, like matching.
Yes.
Well, I've had a great time. I hope
Yes,
you
thank
did
you very
too.
much.
Thanks a
No
lot.
problem. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, it's for all of us, of course. And I do encourage you to try. I think it's all about, like, I think there is so much in our environment that can be useful to the environment and hence to us, rather than if we just change our perspective from thinking what we can use rather than being like a little bit more give and take equally, I think we can do a lot better. Yes. That's the only thing.
Thank you, Aastha.
All right, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.